It's good to speak with you again, Richard. And today I'm looking forward to hearing your innovative, interesting topic on the, I guess we can call it the Internet of Things, and why you think this is, if you're referring to the Internet of Things, it's a bandwagon, or you're playing the wrong song. But I'd like to hear your views on what you think, how we should be thinking about this topic, which involves technology and the convergence of things and people and everything, which you call Web 3.0. So can you start by introducing what is Web 3.0?
Sure, Dustin. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. You've got a great set of speakers and experts, and I think people really value your interviews. Yeah, there's a lot of hype, if you will, around the Internet of Things. Gartner's doing studies, Forrester's doing studies, everybody's talking about the Internet of Things. And, the reality is the Internet of Things has been around. I think Kevin Ashton gave a presentation at Procter Gamble in 1999 and introduced this concept of the Internet of Things. And I know some good friends over at MIT, and the MIT Auto ID labs have been talking about this for a while. The reality is the Internet of Things is simply another evolution in the overall Internet and web as we look at it. So if we look at Web 1.0, it was, static pages. Web 2.0 introduced dynamic, collaborative pages. Web 3.0 is basically the convergence of the Internet of People, which is just about ubiquitous to us today. So the Internet of People, the Internet of Things are converging to be the Internet of Everything, I think Cisco calls it. I simply refer to it as Web 3.0. It is basically going to be the platform upon which social and commercial networks are evolving into the future. And it's going to have, I think, a real impact on the supply chain.
So how does this change everything?
Well, if you recall, in my book, I talked about a vision of a smart supply network. And when we think about what's happening today relative to the internet and mobility, for example, it used to be that we were wired to the internet, but what smartphones and mobile phones are doing is it's untethering us from a wire and from a wired internet. And wireless technology and access are becoming, as ubiquitous as the internet itself. And so as we see people entering into what I refer to as the connected age, where they're always on, always connected, we're going to see more data becoming available in real time than ever, and hence we hear the trend to big data. But if we take a look at the fact that there are 6.8 billion people in the world, more than 4 billion have a mobile phone, which is 500 million more than have a toothbrush, we are always going to be connected. And when you consider that 91% of adults have their mobile phone within arm's reach 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's almost 2 billion smartphone users in the world today. So, companies like Retailligence, Lead Time Technology, Cloudleaf, these are companies that are bringing together the power of the internet with the power of data collection through this Web 3.0. So what we're really going to see is a smart supply network 3.0, where I'm now going to have the data in real time. I have superior business intelligence capabilities and better analytics than I've ever had before. IBM did not develop Watson to win Jeopardy. They developed Watson to demonstrate the type of analytic capabilities that are available to crunch the big data and be able to support not only predictive analytics, but prescriptive analytics. So we are going to see operators throughout the supply network, armed with this smart information, being capable of making the types of decisions in real time that reconcile plan against actual and allow us to synchronize the flow of material, information, and cash along that entire supply network from its source point, okay, what we like to, in the food chain, we like to refer to it as the farm, and carry it all the way to the fork where the consumer is at. So I'm not going to have the capability to analyze point of demand data right when a consumer is doing and searching for a product and going through their shopping. 74% of smartphone users use their phone during their shopping experience. I'm going to have them driving all of the decisions in a supply network so that I can make sure that we're eliminating waste. And so I think supply network management and smart supply network management are going to replace the traditional notions of the supply chain. Web 3.0 is really the enabler, the catalyst of the transformation from a linear sequential thinking supply chain to a more dynamic systems thinking supply network. And so I'll call that the Smart Supply Network 3.0.
And what should people, what should practitioners do to prepare for this change from supply chain thinking to supply network thinking? Is there a way to change your thinking or behavior?
Yeah, companies have got to begin to embrace the fact that this change is occurring. Okay, I like to always tell people, you're going to transform. You will go through transformations. Okay, we've seen transformations from typewriters to word processing, from calculators to computers. So you are going to experience the transformation. The key is whether it's intentional or unintentional. The leaders transform themselves intentionally so that they can capture the opportunity and return on investment and free cash flow that comes from innovation and transformation. The laggards will experience the transformation. They'll be required to make the same investments over time. It's just they'll never realize the potential and the opportunity and return that the leaders experience by being at the forefront of the transformation. So, my advice to companies is don't ignore these new technologies. Don't ignore these changes that are occurring. This is going to be, have a really prolific impact on our traditional supply chain thinking. So we've got to look at the environment. We have to look at these technologies. We have to look at how companies are implementing those technologies. And companies have to really look at their customers and how their customers are embracing the technologies, segment their customers by markets and by capabilities and services required. And most importantly, companies have to document their current processes so that they can begin to see what activities and steps in their processes are going to change based on this new data, this new information. So I spoke at an International Business Forecasting and Planning Conference about a month ago, and I introduced the notion that everything in a company does is all about demand management. And forecast accuracy and improved planning dramatically increases return on invested capital and free cash flow. Why do we relegate that to some junior person or some department? Why are we looking at sales and operations planning as a monthly activity? We should have a chief demand management officer that's responsible for ensuring that the company has the requisite technology to compete in the 21st century. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Justin.
Thanks, Rich, for sharing these great insights on Web 3.0. What is it and how it's changing and what we can do to take on the change.